So today what we're going to be doing, continuing with our linear theme, we are still dealing with linear functions, things that have a linear relationship. We do want to talk about writing equations of linear functions because the equation is the model. And we've talked about it in our word problems. When we know what the rate is, then we can write an equation for that model. When we know the rate and we know the starting point. The problem is we don't always know the rate and the starting point. Sometimes we know the rate and we know a point. It's not the starting point, but it's a point. Sometimes we don't even know the rate. We just know 2 points. And so we can still write a model, write the equation for those situations. We just may have to do more than just one step. You know, when they gave us the rate and the starting point, we plugged it right into our generic model, y equals mx plus b. Remember, we said that the m is the slope. That's the rate when we were doing the word problems. And that the b was the y-intercept. And when we were doing the word problems, that was the starting point. So when we were given those things, we could just plug them right in. Boom, we've got an equation. But when it's these cases, we're going to have to do a little bit more work. Something that we also want to remember about this model is that x and y go together and they make a point on the line. There's a whole bunch of x and y's that go with this model, and that all of those points are what make up the line, but x and y are any point on the line, and that's going to be really important for helping us in these situations. So if I want to write the equation of the line that has a slope of 2 and goes through the point -2, 7. So they gave me a slope. If I'm looking at y equals mx plus b, I know the m. That 2 is going to be my m. So I know that my final equation is going to be y equals 2x plus something. And that's where our problem is. I don't know the y-intercept. The y-intercept would be 0 something, but this is -2, 7. That's not the y-intercept. But do not despair, because they've given us m, and they've given us an x and a y. If you look at this equation, they've given us an m, they've given us the x and the y. That means b is the only thing we don't know. So we can plug in what we do know, solve for what we don't know. So I know that y is equal to 7, m was equal to 2, x was equal to -2, and b is what I'm trying to solve for. So we plugged in the m, we plugged in the x, and we plugged in the y, and we can solve for the b. So I'm going to end up with 7 is equal to -4 plus b. And so -4 is being, you know, it's -4, so we've got to add the opposite. So I'm going to add +4 to both sides. So those cancel out, and 7 plus +4 is 11. So that means that m was equal to 2, and b was equal to 11. So now I have the equation that has a slope of 2 and goes through that point. Its y-intercept would be 11. If you've got 2 points, let's see, if we want to write the equation that goes through 7, 1 and 3, 5. All right, so I want to write the equation that goes through these 2 points. So we know that the equation is y equals mx plus b. And we need 2 pieces of information in order to write this equation. We need the slope and we need the y-intercept. And we don't have either one of those things. But they did give us 2 points. And this is why we learned the slope formula the other day. We know that slope is equal to y2 minus y1, the change in y, over x2 minus x1, the change in x. So since I have 2 points, I can find the slope. So let's do that. I've got y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I end up with positive 4 divided by negative 4, which is going to be negative 1. So I know now that my slope is negative 1. So that's part of my equation. So now I know that y is equal to negative 1x plus b. So now I just need to figure out what b is equal to. Well, now we're back to the exact same situation we were in before. We know the slope. We know the m. I have an x and I have a y. Actually, I have 2 x's and I have 2 y's. So I could use this point or I could use this point. It doesn't matter. So if I just take that y value, 5 is equal to m, which we said was negative 1, the x value, which we said was 3, plus b. So now I'm going to get 5 is equal to negative 3 plus b. So the opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. So I'll add 3 to both sides. I'm going to get that b is equal to 8. So now I know that b is equal to 8, so y equals negative 1x, because we figured out that the slope was negative 1, and then b is equal to 8. So this would be our equation for all of the points.